warning signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in our use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
All right, good morning, SVG, and we are back with you for another edition of COP Chat. All right, and today's topic is rebuilding together, reviewing the coordination. No, let's start again. Rebuilding together, reviewing the coordinated relief efforts since the passage of Hurricane Beryl. And in studio with Christal and me, we have Mr. Bertilian Hamilton, Lieutenant Colonel, Commandant of the SVG Cadet Corps, and Miss Kathy Badnock, Communications Director of the SVG Red Cross Society. So, Mr. Hamilton and Miss Badnock, good morning to both of you, and welcome to the studios of WEFM.
Good morning, and thank you for having us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having us today.
All right, so we are going to make a start to this program. All right, so personally, how did the passage of Beryl affect you guys?
Well, for the cadet force, we had a team prepared, standby, the night of into the morning, the hurricane. We did not have to utilize that team because the impact to mainland St. Vincent and Grenadines, St. Vincent itself was not that demanding. Outside of that, we're doing well. Have our cadets involved in the operation currently as part of the relief.
Okay. Well, at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Red Cross Society, we always have an emergency operations center set up in preparation for any disaster that might be happening, especially when we hear that there is a storm approaching. So we were all set up, tucked away in the EOC. From the standpoint of, well, personally, I'm a Grenadines girl. I'm from Union Island. So the island was very badly hit. The southern Grenadines was very badly affected. Fortunately, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Red Cross Society, we have been prepped. We were ready. We were on the ground from as early as the Tuesday morning, ready to assist with the alleviation of human suffering.
Okay. Christal?
What is EOC? Sorry, we said you're all of the EOC. What is that?
Sorry, Emergency Operations Center.
Okay. All right. That's in Kingstown, or are you able to share that?
We do have an EOC set up at our headquarters at Kingstown.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so it generally within your respective roles, Mr. Hamilton, what is the cadet force expected to do, or what is, maybe let's use the word expected during times of natural disasters?
Okay, as it relates to the operations with NEMO, we are part of the search and rescue subcommittee, and we also engage in warehouse operations. So primarily those two areas, those are areas of focus with NEMO, looking at delivery, receiving supplies, packing, sorting, distribution of supplies to the affected areas. And we know, because we have launched recently search and rescue and medical unit, we are now actively engaged in that component of search and rescue and medical care.
All right, and from the SVG Red Cross standpoint?
We assist NEMO with shelter management, providing relief supplies, relief supply distribution. We are able to assist with search and rescue if needed, the provision of first aid services, among quite a few other things. But that's our general niche.
Okay, and I assume that persons are volunteers
Yes.
within both
Yes,
both
volunteers.
Yes.
both organizations, and they're exposed to first aid training. So just tell us a little more of in terms of what their training is like. Because if you're coming to my assistance, I need to know that you're competent, right? So just let us know a bit in terms of what the volunteers, in terms of the training that they generally have.
Okay, for the cadets, we have been training for years now, since the inception of NEMO with warehouse operations. So none of our middle and senior persons would have been trained in warehouse management, logistics, and so forth. So that's our area of training for the operations part of warehousing. The cadets generally would go in supervised by senior middle managers to sort, pack, and distribute supplies. The Search and Rescue Marine Medical Unit, which we call SAMU. Quite a few of our members have been trained in emergency medical responder. That is just one notch underneath the emergency medical technician. We have persons trained in basic life support and first aid. So for our search and rescue, our medical unit, the team that we have, they are competent to operate as first responders. So what we do with anyone who has an injury, we would sort them at that time, relieve the stress, and then transport them to the hospital or the clinic.
And from the Red Cross?
Where do I begin?
At the beginning.
We ensure that all of our volunteers are very much prepared, including training, for whatever position we send them out, whatever job we send them out to do. And oftentimes there's quite a bit to do. It includes WASH, which is water, sanitation, and health, psychosocial support and psychological first aid. We have persons trained. Most of our volunteers are first aid trained. They would have also a select few undergone the emergency medical responder training that Mr. Hamilton was just speaking about. We have persons trained in shelter management, community engagement, and accountability, because it's very important when we're going out to know how to interact with the community there. After all, we're not going to save them. We ensure that they are protagonists in whatever operation that we're doing. We also assist the National Emergency Management Organization with providing what we call CDRT, Community Disaster Response Training, for the community groups. So in quite a few communities around St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have CDRT teams, which are set up to be the first responders on the ground before anybody else gets there. And of course, we assist with livelihood setting up, which is cash voucher assistance. We have persons trained in that program as well, among other things.
That's a lot of responsibility. How big in terms of numbers are the respective organizations?
Well, our active engagement currently is about 150 to 200 persons actively engaged. We are spread out across St. Vincent Grenadines. We have a unit in Beckway, and that unit has been quite active from this inception. They're working with the shelters there and dealing with distribution and so forth. We have a unit in Georgetown, in Beryl. We're trying to set up a unit in North Leeward. So we have recruits there. A few cadets who passed out last year. We have operations in Mespo, and we have operations in Kingstown. So we have numbers spread out across St. Vincent and Grenadines, basically.
Is there an age range though?
Cadets start at age 11, and you can work your way up. Most persons would discontinue being cadets when they leave school, but you have to continue up. Some persons as middle managers because minors cannot supervise themselves. So you have adults continuing on to be middle managers and officers.
Okay.
But the bulk of our cadets are from secondary school programs.
Okay. And from the Red Cross?
We have over 300 volunteers. We also welcome temporary volunteers, especially in these times since St. Vincent, it's 110,000 roughly. So we welcome persons who are like minded, who want to assist in times of emergencies. We just provide the framework. We have groups in most of the communities around St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Yes, from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, including on Union Island.
Okay. And is there an age range?
We like to say from 5 until you can no longer volunteer physically.
Okay. All right. All right. So in terms of I'm assuming, well, I know Kathy is from Union, and I'm assuming that you both would have made a visit to the Southern Grenadines. And in terms of what you have seen, what update can you give us by way of the status and maybe the progress that's being made?
Okay. I have not been, the cadet force have not been on ground
Okay.
in Southern Grenadines yet. We are planning to go in tomorrow to do what you call a reconnaissance to see where we can set up we want to set up a medical station. That would be in the field operation, and one gets injured working out in the field and needs medical care. We'll provide that care until we can transport them to the hospital, to the clinic. So tomorrow, the grace of God, we are planning to go to Union Island to see where we can set up that station and have persons in on rotation to man that station.
Okay, and would that station also lend support, let's say, to Canawan and to Myro as well?
Well, based on the need, we'll see how it progress from there.
Okay.
Because we still manpower short in relation to persons who are qualified in the medical component, all right, to render the type of care that we expect to deliver. So we cannot spread ourselves too thin because we'll have to rotate the team in and out as well, out of Union Island. But we can probably, as need be, rotate the team over to the other islands once a week. See how it work out there.
Okay. And Kathy, from your standpoint?
The Red Cross Society, we were on the ground, boots. We hit the ground running from Tuesday morning after we got the official briefing from the Prime Minister. Well, it went out to the entire country. We delivered relief supplies to Canawan, Myro, Union Island. We recognize that the situation on all of those islands are very much fluid at this moment. So we had also to be flexible in how we approached the distribution efforts, not just then, but with the future in mind. That said, I suppose later on we'd go into details about what our operation is like on the ground. However, I can say that the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Southern Grenadines especially, they are very resilient. They need help to help themselves. As somebody said on Union Island, I would hold on Union for all those who would have left with the intention of coming back. Even when I went on my second visit, I returned on Tuesday, I believe. I returned on Tuesday. Persons were already down there cleaning the gutters, removing galvanized from next to the road. It had, in my opinion, it looked a lot different, the roadside, compared to the first time. People, some of course, most of them are traumatized, but they are dealing with their trauma by working, cleaning out their homes, cleaning up their surroundings as much as possible. Do they need help? Definitely. They definitely need help. The most we can do is support them to help themselves at this point in time, of course, with dignity.
I know that you mentioned psychosocial support as being one of the, training that members of the Red Cross undergo. And in terms of speaking of the trauma that many persons are currently experiencing, is the Red Cross providing that psychosocial support on the ground?
When we took the first team down, we had a couple persons trained in PSS, psychosocial support, and PFA, psychological first aid. We do not like to work too much in isolation, especially in disasters of this magnitude. We have been working with our partners, including National Mobilization, who have a mental health division set up. So we do have volunteers coming in who are trained in therapy, psychotherapy, with their own private practices. However, we are insisting on moving forward with a strategy, joint strategy with the Ministry of National Mobilization, so that we do not, one, duplicate our efforts. We do not have a lot of resources, so we do not want to waste any. And of course, nothing should be done in isolation. You know, at the end of the day, we are helping together.
That's true. How does this disaster compare to others in the past?
Who's taking it?
Well, if we're looking at hurricane specifically, this one seemed to be a little more intense. We from the SG Cadet Force, we were preparing for a devastation like what happened in Southern Grenadines, based on the category, the hurricane. Having gone to Grenada and see what happened in Ivan. So we were preparing for that. So we, as you said, we had a team of 25 persons stationed at Kingston Technical Institute overnight in Sunday into Monday. And when the all clear was given and we realized that the mainland itself was not that impacted, our team stood down from the operation. The next day they went in to work with NEMO in relief. So we are custom working with NEMO in relief for hurricanes, but the impact this time around, just so spread out on the mainland and in the Grenadines in particular, is vast, and it requires a lot of manpower. And we have to manage our manpower because a lot of our manpower is young people. So currently we have the older set of cadets, 15, 16 up in operation. The 11, 12, 13 year olds, they're not in operation as yet. But at some point in time, as supplies come on the ground and they need light work, we'll bring them in to do that light work. But the comparison working with NEMO, I mean, as a youngster experiencing Hurricane Allen on mainland, it was worse in terms of the devastation to mainland. They're talking about the 80s.
Okay, I never heard of Hurricane Allen.
So that was the 80s. But in relation to this part of into the 21st century, I think this has been ours. Right, this has been our worst. In terms of general operations, in terms of disaster events, the volcanic crisis, really, that was terrible.
Okay.
All right, that's more physically demanding operation than this now. But for hurricanes, this takes a cake thus far.
Okay.
As I would echo part of what the Lieutenant Colonel said, the scope was or is big, it's huge. What also compounds the issue is the fact that the Southern Grenadines. You have to take a boat or plane to get there. It is part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but the fact that they're islands by themselves, not even just offshore, but they're islands by themselves, that compounds how we respond and how quickly we can respond on the ground. So that adds a little bit of an issue there. Then the fact is that we're all Vincentians. A lot of us have personal skin in the game. Our families have been affected. We know persons who have been affected on the ground. Yes, when the volcano erupted, it was big. It affected persons on the mainland. We suffered. We moved on as much as we could in that multi-hazard environment. But with this, there is another layer, another set of layers not just the geographical location, the scope, and the fact that persons are also suffering, and you can see and hear them suffering. They have lost everything. That adds quite another dimension to the issue.
Okay. All right. So let's take our first ad break at this time, and then we'll be right back with today's Cop Chat.
Do you spin a dial to make a call on your rotary phone from the 60s?
No.
Are you driving an unreliable and risky automobile made in the 1900s?
Of course not.
Are you still fiddling with an antenna to get good signal on your black and white television from the 20s?
Really?
Then why are you still stuck in the past, sitting on an unintelligent 1930s design toilet? That's right, 1930s design. What does your bathroom say about you? Don't get left behind. The future is now. Be smart. Be progressive. Get yourself a smart toilet seat or a complete toilet today. You can visit the My Smart Toilet Seat office on the 3rd floor of the Blue Corner building opposite the old Anglican School on Bay Street. Our smart toilets are also available throughout St. Vincent at retail outlets with the orange flags. For more information, you can call us at 457-1703 or visit our website, justwashit.vc.
Yes, sir.
Our industry relies on all of us to play our part. We take pride in showcasing our beautiful island, our craft, our cuisine, and our warm Vincentian hospitality.
Each of us play a crucial role in showcasing our vibrant tourism industry. We can create spaces where visitors can unwind, connect with nature, and embrace tranquility of our beautiful surroundings.
We need everyone on board to help us create an exceptional experience for our guests.
Join us at our National Tourism Community Consultations as we shape the future of tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It's everyone's business. Yeah, live it, love it, embrace it.
That's the sound of your animals. Strong, healthy, and delivering yields you love. That didn't just happen. It began with you feeding them only the best. East Caribbean Feeds. Rest assured, we only produce your feeds with premium ingredients. No hormones, no animal byproducts. Just everything your animal needs for maximum nutrition. Because your animals deserve only the best. East Caribbean Feeds from Maximum Nutrition.
ECGC has slashed feed prices by 8 to 10%. Check your local supplier for more details. ECGC, providers of feed for maximum nutrition.
Cloud9 wants you to know that they're having their biggest sale ever. Save between 50 to 80% on everything store-wide. Shoes and clothing for the whole family, toys, household items, swimwear, and more. Don't miss out on this crazy sale. Everything must go. What are you waiting for? Get it before you miss it. Offer applies while stocks last. Some restrictions apply. Cloud9 is open Mondays to Fridays 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Get ready for the biggest all-inclusive sunset catamaran cruise. Touch on the water.
Touch on the water.
We're gonna be sailing down the Leeward coast. Boarding time 5 p.m. at the Kingstown Cruise Ship Terminal. Sailing time 6 p.m. Music on board by SVG's legendary band Touch, alongside The Fugitive.
I love me white bad.
Get your tickets now at Tower Bar, Honnestvale, the Music Center, and Standard Shippers Kingstown, or from Ticket Runners, The Fugitive, and Christal.
Limited space available.
So purchase now or reserve yours at thebandtouchvc@gmail.com. Come celebrate with us as we kick off our 40th anniversary with a massive all-inclusive sunset catamaran cruise. Touch on the water.
Man can't take but. Man can't take but.
Brought to you by
WEFM,
White Oak,
Log Enterprises,
Touch,
Standard Shippers,
Just Wine,
and Boom 106.9 FM.
Touch on the Water. New date this Friday, July 12, 2024.
WEFM is SVG.
Cop Chat. You've got questions for the police? They're here to give you the answers on WEFM 99.9.
want you to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in no use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
All right, so we are back with our Thursday edition of Cop Chats. It's every Thursday at 8:05 till about 9 o'clock. All right, and today we have in studio with us, let me address you properly. I was saying Mr., but let me address you properly. Lieutenant Colonel Bertillion Hamilton, as well as Miss Kathy Badnock. Okay, so let me start again, right? So Lieutenant Colonel Bertillion Hamilton, he's the commandant of the SVG Cadet Corps, and Miss Kathy Badnock, Communications Director of the SVG Red Cross Society. And we are speaking on the topic, Rebuilding Together, reviewing the coordinated relief efforts since the passage of Hurricane Beryl. All right, and listeners, it is an interactive
Program.
All right, Christal.
Oh, I thought I was coming in to help. Sorry.
There we go.
Sorry.
All right, so it is an interactive program, and should you have a question or a comment that you wish to pose to our interviewees, you can call us at 457-9997, all right? You can call directly or you can WhatsApp that number. All right, so to continue with our discussion, how are you actually getting resources? That human element, because both of you indicated that the Cadet Corps and the Red Cross is a voluntary organization. And for those persons listening, you do not get paid, right? But there are intrinsic rewards to be gained from participating in voluntary organizations, right? Personal development, etc. But in terms of your functioning from the financial aspect, how do you guys get resources?
Okay, the S3 Cadet Force, which is a state-operated or youth organization, our funds come through the state. So our resources generally to operate will be provided by the government of St. Vincent and Grenadines. In times of disasters like now, additional resources would come for operations through NEMO. For medical station, we hoping that we'll get our resources. We have already, but obviously we'd have to use up our supplies and we have to restock. So those would come through the Red Cross, to SVG, to the government, and through NEMO. Our human resources, we have quite a few ex-cadets out there who usually come back in operation times like these. So we are hoping that we can have some of those persons who are nurses or who used to be nurses doing something different now, who want to come back in to support our operations in the Southern Grenadines, where we set up our medical stations there. So we anticipate we'll call in around and see. We may have some nurses who on leave, or who used to be nurses, but not doing that anymore, who want to come in to support our operation in the medical station. I think we are okay currently with the relief operation side of it in terms of the manpower. So that part of it is okay. But additionally, we have to be writing to some of the employers where cadets work to ask a time off for them to come into operation on a rotational basis and so forth, which is the norm at this time.
Okay. And Red Cross?
It seems to be going around.
Yes. Oh boy. Ms. Hamilton, just clear your throat one time.
Yeah. Precautionary.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Red Cross Society is part of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Society. I said all of that to say we are an international organization. I don't want to say we beg, but we rely on the goodwill of persons in the diaspora, in the international community. The way we are set up, that goodwill comes already, at least at some phases, it comes already mandated. And for an operation like this, we can request more goodwill. However, those resources are not infinite, and they do have to be replaced at some point in time. When you're dealing with an international organization and so much is going on around the world, all of those resources have to be put at different places. So it's who is the most badly hit, who has more vulnerable persons, then they would be allocated depending on those factors. Of course, we are always willing and able to partner with various stakeholders in and around the world. We are very big on accountability. That is why persons tend to come to us, because we like to show you how your money is being spent, every dollar, every dime, every cent. As for human resources, volunteers they're the foundation upon which the Red Cross is built. We cannot do it without persons. Of course, we like to do a background check, especially when we have to deal with children. We are very big on ensuring that our vulnerable, including our children, are protected from any wrongdoings, any harm under these circumstances. So we do our due diligence as well. But we welcome persons to come in, to commit your time, your resources that you might have to a very worthy cause.
Okay. Phone, oh boy. Sorry. The next question has to do with success stories. Some of the good things that have happened. I know this is a very trying time, but some of the things that you want to highlight at this time.
I would start.
Ladies first.
I remember coming up from Union Island on Gemstar on Wednesday last week. I don't do boats, but I did the boat then. And the gentleman, he said, he came to us crying. And I know we hear a lot about gentlemen, big gentlemen, strong gentlemen crying. But this gentleman from Union Island, he approached us. He said, I have not slept in 3 days. I have barely eaten anything beyond Zuma's. And this is not a plug to Zuma's company. It was just a simple matter of even just putting a blanket around him. And that simple act caused the man to break down and cry. He was so relieved at the thought that he was finally getting to somewhere safe. It may not seem like a big thing, but for him, it was everything. And it is those small moments that we live for, that we work for, that we can make a difference, regardless of how small, in one person's life.
Nice.
Well, the cadet force depend on our membership, and the success of our operation will depend on the parents. So if a parent say you're not going, nothing's gonna happen. So our success is to appreciate that the parents would have given permission for their child or children to be engaged in the operation currently. Our other successes will come later on, because as we get more into the operation, then we'll see that. But currently, as you say, we are into the relief stage, and that's where we have our cadets engaged currently.
All right. So before we jump to the other question, I think it's important for us to point out or let listeners know, how do you join these organizations?
Well, the cadet force, we engage in our recruitment tied with the school year, because school-based organization. Our membership comes from within the school system. So our membership is open up in September, and persons can register and start training in September. And usually you take them up to around May of the following year. So what they really have to do is to turn up to our training location in Kingstown. We have training conducted at Kingston Technical Institute on Tuesday afternoon between 3:30 and 5, and at the grammar school, same time on Tuesdays. Mondays, we have Beckway, and they're at Clifton Plainfield, same time, basically. Beryl, we're going to Beryl on Thursday, and that is on 3:30 to 5 at Beryl at the Central Leeward Secondary School, Peters Hope. We go into North Leeward in the area of Pittipodel Secondary School, and that is on Tuesday afternoon as well, same time. Mespo and Georgetown on Wednesdays. Mespo would be at the Emmanuel High School, same time, 3:30 to 5, and in Georgetown Secondary School, 3:30 to 5 o'clock. Training conducted in those days.
Okay. Red Cross, we do have school groups. So at some of your schools, you can just join it alongside cadets or Girl Guides. Those are the options. In some primary schools, you also have your Red Cross groups alongside Brownies. For the adults, you can call our office. It's 4561888, or you can approach any volunteer that you would see with a big Red Cross and say that we want literally, we want to join, we want to assist, I want to assist. You can you can approach somebody in your community. You can check out our website, SVG Red Cross I would get back to that.
we could make mention of it in your wrap up, it's fine.
Yes. Or just walk into our office. We're literally right behind the Ministry of Education building that's next to Flow in town. So we are accessible. We're in your communities. We're in your schools. Just come right up and show an interest, and you would be in after you do your background check.
That's both temporary? You can be a temporary volunteer or a permanent volunteer, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Because there's some people who just want to do it because there is a greater need at this time. I think I saw Nemo put out a call for volunteers as well. Does that automatically extend to the Cadet Force or Red Cross, or it's just specific to Nemo? Do you know?
Well, no. For cadets, we would take persons in operation who are ex-cadets.
Okay.
Because they understand our structure, our command structure. So when we say move left, they know to move left, move right. Okay. Right? So you understand our command and control structure.
Okay.
So, and they understand how the operation function, the chain of command and so forth. So usually we have ex-cadets. Few of them, I say, would usually show interest in time of disaster to come in and support. And they know how to make contact with us.
Okay. All right.
And I am not at liberty to comment on the volunteer recruiting procedures at the National Emergency Management Organization.
All right. So let's take our final ad break during this segment, and then we'll be right back with more Cop Chat.
At Lynch Caribbean, yes, we offer comprehensive insurance solutions and broking. But we are more than an insurance broker. We drill down to your core business strategy. We keep a pulse on risk to keep your operations healthy.
On your mark, get set.
Along the way, helping you to drive competitive advantages. At Lynch Caribbean, we have your back. Contact us today for insurance solutions, strategic risk advisory, and more. Call 453-3300. Email info@lynchcaribbean.com or visit our office in Beachmont, Kingstown. Follow Lynch Caribbean SVG on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, or visit www.lynchcaribbean.com.
Let's get your laundry clean and fresh with the widest range of washing machines and dryers in SVG. At Singer, choose between our West Point and Speed Queen brands with an array of washing machines with payments starting as low as $92 per month. Your laundry room wouldn't be complete without a Whirlpool or Speed Queen electric or gas-operated dryer, saving your energy consumption. Also in stock is our West Point washer-dryer combo for only $136 per month. One machine that does the work of two. No need to change machines. Just toss in your laundry and forget about it. Whether your preference in machines is top-loading or front-loading, Whether you want a 9 kilogram or a larger 15 kilogram washer, whether you're looking for a gas or electric dryer, we've got it all at Singer. Visit us today and get the washing machine and dryer that's perfect for you. Singer, your family company.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there. Reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's what it's all about. Ocean freight rates are skyrocketing, so don't pay more for slower service. It's time to switch to faster, more reliable air cargo service with SkyMax Cargo. Up to 3 flights weekly to and from the USA, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean islands. Providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. For special low rates on small packages and air cargo, contact SkyMax today. 784-456-5400. Local agents SwiftPack Interprime Cargo. Call 784-456-5400 to book your shipments today. Get ready for the biggest all-inclusive sunset catamaran cruise. Touch on the water. Touch on the water. We're gonna be sailing down the Leeward coast. Boarding time 5 p.m. at the Kingstown Cruise Ship Terminal. Sailing time 6 p.m. Music on board by SVG's legendary band Touch, alongside The Fugitive. I love me white bad. Get your tickets now at Tower Bar, Honnestvale, the Music Center, and Standard Shippers Kingstown, or from Ticket Runners, The Fugitive, and Christal. Limited space available, so purchase now or reserve yours at thebandtouchpc@gmail.com. Come celebrate with us as we kick off our 40th anniversary with a massive all-inclusive sunset catamaran cruise. Touch on the water. Man can't take but. Man can't take but. Brought to you by WEFM, White Oak, Log Enterprises, Touch, Standard Shippers, Just Wine, and Boom 106.9 FM.
Touch on the Water. New date this Friday, July 12th, 2024.
WEFM is SVG.
Cop Chat. You've got questions for the police? They're here to give you the answers on WEFM 99.9.
Fishermen say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in no use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
Alrighty, so we are back for our final segment of today's COP chat. And in studio with Christal and me, we have Lieutenant Colonel Bertilian Hamilton, Commandant of the SVG Cadet Corps, and Miss Kathy Badner, Communications Director at the SVG Red Cross Society. And we are speaking on the topic of rebuilding together, reviewing the coordinated relief efforts since the passage of Hurricane Beryl. All right, so we are in our final wrap up. But one of the questions that I wish to ask at this time is community involvement. Yes, the Red Cross and Cadet Corps you work in relation to voluntary services, but you cannot do it in isolation. Correct. So speak a bit more in terms of what you would like to see maybe in terms of community involvement and not just immediate community, but nationally we are a community as well. So
I would say that most, if not all, of our interventions so far, they have involved either the community or various stakeholders. We recognize that we cannot do all of this or any of this by ourselves. Yes, we have booths, for example, set up on the wharf, waiting to greet and register evacuees from the islands. It's always good to see a friendly face after being traumatized by nature. So we have that set up. But in order to do that, we have to work very closely with National Mobilization and Ministry of Transport to not just register, but to ensure that the evacuees can get to the shelters. We do advocacy. We like to make sure that the voices, the things that people, the evacuees need, that their voices are being heard. We sit and we coordinate with all those other stakeholders who want to come in and do this or do that. We ensure that the effort is coordinated. And I could call some names like Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who have been working with us on Union Island. We've had the French Red Cross on Guadeloupe. We've had churches approach us and say, yes, we want to send this, we want to send that. But we ensure that we are coordinating the effort on the ground to make sure that resources get to where they're needed. We do psychosocial support, psychological first aid, and that is in conjunction with Ministry of National Mobilization. Of course, relief distribution, we have set up hubs on all three of those Grenadine islands, on Cano and Mairo and Union Island. And you cannot do it without the assistance of the community on the ground. We have persons from the community on the ground that we are collaborating with. We involve them in the process because, as I said in the beginning, we want persons to be protagonists of their recovery, of their relief. Yes, it's targeted, but those hubs ensure that those community members, they know who is in their community, they know who are the persons on the ground. They get the help to those persons who need it. We manage shelters. We have persons in the communities going into shelters that need help, of course, from NEMO, with NEMO's permission. They're there in the shelters, assisting the shelter managers that have already been appointed with managing those areas. And of course, cash voucher assistance. We cannot, and I see Christal watching me. That means I should probably elaborate on that. But basically, we have some stakeholders who saw it fit. They were listening to the evacuees on the ground, and they hear them say, we need money to help buy food, even if they're in a private shelter or public shelter. So they have said, we want to set up a voucher assistance program, something like what was done during the volcanic eruption. And we would give a family, for example, a certain amount of money a month to help buy food. But they did not know how to go about doing it. Since we have the experience, they have approached us and we have said, yes, we can assist you with setting up that kind of program, but we cannot do it in isolation. We would, of course, approach mobilization and get a list of persons from the shelters, private or public, and use that list going forward. We also ensure that we tap into mobilization because if the government is doing something, we want to ensure that one person isn't double dipping, that we can stretch the resources to as many persons as possible so that everybody can get some sort of help.
And that part of the double dipping I can appreciate because we know that there are persons who are going to try to take full advantage of the current situation. So I'm happy to see that there is some coordination that is actually taking place there.
I mean, we like to think that our people, we are trustworthy, respectable, honorable people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But I prefer to be proactive and prepare for the worst. And of course, when we get the best, we can all feel better about it.
Okay. All right.
All right, good.
Mr. Hamilton? No.
Well,
sorry.
Our engagement with we are hoping that when we get into Southern Grenadines, that we'll be able to engage in the community to assist them with their medical needs. We're not doing medical needs in terms of medical care that we get from a clinic. But our medical station we set up would be in the event that someone gets injured while working. You know, we have people moving galvanized on construction sites and so forth. If they are injured and they need to be taken care of before they get to the clinic or the hospital, we'll be able to provide that service as part of our medical station that will be setting up there.
Okay. All right. So we've come to the end of today's program. I want to thank you both, not just for being on the program, but for the work that you do. All right. And as Ava mentioned, I am saying thank you to you guys for the years of service that you have given to the nation as a whole. And I know Kathy in particular, the passage of the hurricane literally hit home for her, right? In a very literal context. So she and her team are going to be trying their best in terms of being able to assist and assist in her fellow community persons with the restoration and the rebuilding. So thank you very much, guys, for being on the program and for the work that you do.
Thank you very much for having the SVG Cadet Force in your program this morning.
You're not speaking for Red Cross one time?
Red Cross can speak.
If you notice, it's been like super coordinated for the entire program.
And that is one of the things that I realized that they work together. They generally work together. So yeah.
As we say at the Red Cross, together we are our first aid. So
all right,
it's together.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
All right. So this concludes our COP chat for today. And then join us again next week for another edition of COP Chat. The time here in SVG, it is now 9:04, and it is time for us to bring to you today's ECCB currency exchange rates.